Welcome to Monday Night Live, the weekly training that guides professionals to financial prosperity. Join our community and let's start building your wealth.
Let me introduce Joe Herbert. So I gave you a brief introduction a moment ago. Um, so Joe, if you'd like to, go ahead and feel free to take over from here. Rob and I will help out and we'll kind of watch the chat box and let you go. And if you have strategic stopping points, you just say, "Hey, Garrett, it's a good break for some questions," and we'll tee them up for you. And but if you wouldn't mind, would you mind sharing a little bit about your story and what led you to where you are?
Absolutely. And you had mentioned you wanted me to talk about team building. So I kind of have two different subjects. One will be just sharing what I know about team building. And then I'm going to segue into like building wealth by owning real estate. So maybe after the team building, we can stop and take some questions. And then after the real estate investing one, we can stop and take questions. I don't know how long, this event goes, but I'm more than happy to take, questions till there aren't any, because that's one thing that Gary knows about me. I just love helping people grow and change and accomplish their goals. So, but just to tell you about me, I spent 20 years in the corporate world. I was an electrical engineer, and in the corporate world, there's not too many places that have pensions anymore. And, you put money in your 401k, but, statistics are showing now that long term, that's not a real viable way to retire. So I had a friend who was involved with real estate. Fast forward, I bought a couple rental properties, kind of liked it. A broker approached me about becoming a realtor, and I was in the bar business and the nightclub business, and had worked at 2 or 3 companies, and I knew a lot of people, and it was interesting. All the people that were at my bar all the time. And by the way, I'm going to date myself here, but when I opened up my bar and my nightclub, then the internet existed, but there was nothing on it, right? There was no Facebook. There were no dating sites. People started to go out of their house if they wanted to meet people. So, our bar was jammed all the time on the weekends. And I just met so many people. But, they were getting older. They were getting married. They weren't hanging out in bars. And I spent about 2 years figuring out, like, what else do these people need? And at the time, I was still an engineer. And then when this broker approached me about becoming a realtor, this light bulb went on in my head. And I said, everybody needs a house, right? Shelter is never going away, right? You can't get rid of it, right? We don't know what artificial intelligence is going to do. You can just call Uber and they'll come and pick you up and drive you somewhere. And now soon there's not even going to be an Uber driver in the car, right? But people still need a roof over their head. To me, it's one of the top 4 or 5 products that everybody needs it. It's never going away. It's evergreen. So anyway, I just realized I wanted to be in real estate. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna help people buy and sell it. I'm gonna own it, and I'm gonna teach it. Those are the 3 things I had in my mind when I went into the business. And I focused on that, and it's been very lucrative. It's been amazing. And I can't imagine, I could never imagine. I grew up in a very poor family, and I'm not giving you like a victim story, but and my father, I love him to death, but he had a very negative personality, and it was tough. So I could have never imagined, having the personal. I talk about financial and personal freedom. Um, I went to New Zealand fly fishing. This is probably the best story I can say. Not this year, in April of last year. And my friend, he was an engineer with me, he's still an engineer in California. He calls me up and he says, "Hey, I can get this guide who's one of the best guides in New Zealand, and we can go fly fishing for a week." My friend's name is Jorge. I said, "Jorge, I want to go for 3 weeks because, New Zealand's on the other side of the planet." I said, "I don't want to get down there and we have bad weather, right?" But the point is, I didn't have to ask my boss if I could have 3 weeks off. I didn't have to go home and ask my wife, "Can we afford this?" I didn't even get off the phone. I said, "Book it for 3 weeks." And it cost $20,000, the whole trip, everything. And it was amazing. That's my type of personal freedom. I don't want a Rolex. I don't want to drive a Mercedes. And there's nothing wrong with wanting that stuff. But I just want to, I grew up every day worrying about My car's broke down in the driveway. I'm not kidding. There are days I reached in the cushions on my car seat trying to find change to buy gas. Okay. And to never have to worry about that stuff, I want everybody to feel that way. It's the best feeling in the world. And real estate was the choice I made. I felt like, I didn't have to go back to college to get a degree. I mean, you can, there are universities that teach real estate, but, I'm self-taught. But I just love real estate. I think it can work for so many people. And it's interesting. Gary mentioned my whiteboard with all the scribbling behind me because I'm working on a new podcast episode. I have a fascination with billionaires. Not that I want to be a billionaire, but if you're going to study somebody because you want to grow in a certain aspect of life, you might as well study the people who are crushing it, right? I take tennis lessons at my tennis club, and I go get the pro. I actually have a pro who actually played and won money tournaments, and he's my teaching pro. I'm going to go to the top, right? I'm never going to be a pro. I mean, but the point is, that's why I follow billionaires. So anyway, I've been scribbling all these notes because I've been watching all this content on billionaires. And so my podcast is going to be like the 10 traits that I have noticed that almost every billionaire has. And so the notes, I just been brainstorming and they're all over the board. I think that's it's a very interesting subject is, how do these people get to be so uber wealthy? And again, we can get into the politics of, is it right? Is it wrong? Are they sharing it enough with the world? But anyway, one of those methods, though, that a lot of them still do it with is real estate. They're doing it with tech companies now. They're doing it with pharmaceutical companies. The fashion industry, believe it or not, yields a lot of billionaires. The entertainment industry now is starting to yield billionaires, the sports industry. But anyway, real estate, it could be learned. It's easy entry. In fact, I have a document because it's another ebook that I'm working on that's going to go on selfmadewealth.co is why is real estate, I think, the most practical and realistic path to financial and personal freedom for most people. I really believe it is. So anyway, that's who I am. I hope that wasn't too much information. So let me see if I can share my screen. And what I did is I didn't create, a gorgeous presentation, but I just opened up a Word document and I just started writing down talking points of all the things that I wanted to share. And a lot of it's just kind of my experiences and perspectives on team building. And by the way, if you go to my website, my website is joeherbertrealty.com, but the website you would want to go to is selfmadewealth.co because there's a ton of free content there. In fact, there's nothing for sale there. But if you go on there and subscribe and get any ebook, you can just message me and say, hey, Joe, this particular part of the presentation, would you send it to me? I will. Everything I have here, you can have. Also, Joe at selfmadewealth.co. If you email me, anything you want help with, anything you see, I'll give it to you. Just let me know. So let's go over here. I'm going to share my screen. Let's see here. Yeah, self-made wealth. Do you see? Okay, that's cool. So let's see what's going on here. I want to share my screen. Share.
Oh, there you go. You got it. Yep. Okay.
Okay. So can everybody see my screen?
We're seeing the
Yes,
Zoom
thank you.
screen. So
Yeah. Can you
when
see
you
my bar
share,
down here?
Yes.
let's
cool.
see.
All right.
There
Can you
we
see
are.
this Word
Yeah,
document?
we see some slides on there. Yep.
Okay. Can you read that Word
Yep.
document?
There we go.
All right. Good. So
Yep.
again, this is just a bunch
Barely.
of.
Could you make it a little larger, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
Let's see what we can do here. Let's try that. Boom.
Yep,
How's that?
you need some cheaters
What's that?
on top of your glasses.
Can you read that now?
You need better glasses.
I do or you do?
Yeah, we
No.
can read it just
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
All right.
Just-
Cool.
Caring is talking about me.
I got my cheaters right here.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. So first of all, I just want to go over like I'm not I have you know, a small tight knit team. We have about 13 agents, myself and my manager, Emily. I'm not a company that wants bodies. Okay. There's 3 or 4 companies here in Erie. They will take anybody, they don't care. And I watch so many people go in and out of these companies and fail. And I'd rather have a smaller team and give them really good attention. So I have some criteria that I look at. And let me see if I can find it here. So, okay, so let's go to this one here. I'm gonna size it up for you. And again, I'll send you this if you want, but these are some of the questions I ask because over the years, I've watched who's worked and succeeded with my team and who hasn't. And don't get me wrong, there are people that don't answer these questions the way I want and they still succeed. But I'm trying to hedge my bets here and find the people that I think have the best chance of succeeding in the business, okay? And I find that if somebody's worked in sales before, that's a big help, right? Because there's some experience and some skills. Plus, I know they understand how to be around, communicate, and work with people. We're not in the property business. We're in the people business, okay? All my success in real estate sales as a realtor has come from my ability to interact with and network with people in different organizations, starting some of my own organizations. So no doubt about it. So if they've been in sales or even in retail, another good profession that I find people succeed in is servers in restaurants. Believe it or not, they do well, and school teachers do well because all of those professions, they are constantly interacting with people and constantly, you know, modifying, you know, for each person how to succeed and communicate with that person, help that person get what they want. Another one is, do they know anything about real estate? You know, let's face it, that's our product, okay? And I find when somebody sits down with me and they say, I don't know anything about it. I couldn't tell you what a water meter is. I don't know what a furnace is. I find like I have my work cut out for me to try to train them. But again, these are not deal breaker questions, but this is how I find out if I think I've got somebody at the table that I think that can succeed. Have they ever worked in any role that touches real estate? Like, did they work at Lowe's? Did they work for a plumber? You know, did they work for a home improvement company doing billing, anything? Which social media channels are they on? You know, when believe it or not, people come in my office and they have no picture on Facebook. They haven't made a post in 3 years. I think I tell my agents or anybody new, I think there's 4 legs to a stool, right? And I think there's 4 legs to getting leads in this business. And one of them is being on social media and branding yourself, okay? You'd be surprised, this one right here, did I have any money for a license? I'll sit down and interview with a person and then they'll tell me, okay, this sounds great. All I have to do is figure out how to get the $300 to take the classes. And I'm like, ugh, you don't have $300? That's not a good sign, okay? And I'm not rude, but I'm in a diplomatic way. I say, look, these things cost money, and if you have money to invest in your business, you're going to succeed. How much money do you have in the bank right now? I ask them, because it's just like if you're going to work with the buyer to show them a house, do you want to know if they're pre-approved? Absolutely, right? It's the same thing. Is this person pre-approved? Can they make it as a realtor financially? Also, it says something to me if a person has 0 money in the bank account and they're living paycheck to paycheck. That's not a good skill. This is another one. Statistics show that most people that get into this business part-time, they either never make it or they always sell a couple houses a year. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to have 30 agents that all sell 3 houses a year, that's 90 transactions. But I want to try to get everybody, I want to know, can you be full-time and how long does it take? How big is their sphere of influence? Okay. And I explain to them what that is, but you know, I say, look, do you have contacts in Outlook? Do you have contacts in Google? How many contacts do you have on your phone? Again, it's a people business. And if they don't, what's their plan to find and connect with people? And in my training, I have a whole, prospecting and lead gen manual that I've created. Because in my 20 years in this business, I've found clients and deal so many different ways. I think I've been super creative. And so I teach that, but I want to know, like, what do they bring to the table, if anything? You know, if they say, well, my mother's the mayor, I'm like, good, you're hired, right? You know, or I'm president of this club. I like that. Okay. So what's your plan to grow? And then also, what are they watching and listening to or reading? Okay. When somebody says to me, oh, I love Gary Vee, I watch all of his content on YouTube, that's a good sign. But when they say, like, well, I spend 4 hours a day watching stupid pet tricks on TikTok, you know, maybe not such a good thing. So these are questions that I like to ask. And again, if you want this document, I'll send it to you. And by the way, I hope none of this offends anybody. It's just that when I hire an agent, I give them my heart and soul. I do. My broker of record is Emily, and we train. All my training is homegrown, and it's really good. It's all live. We take them to the tax sales. We take them to the sheriff sales. We teach them about real estate investing, and then our support is really good. So if I'm going to do that, I want to know, am I investing my time in the right person? I have people that come in my office that are not working right now. Now, it's different if it's a mom who's home with her 2 kids and her husband's working, but the kids are getting ready to go to school and now she's looking for a career. That's different. But if you're sitting in your pajamas all day long watching Jerry Springer, I don't want to try to make you a successful real estate agent. I'm just being honest, right? Again, questions about the money. How much money do you have? What kind of time can they put into building their business? Do they have a sphere of influence? Again, the red flags are if the answers are no to a lot of these questions. Can they use Microsoft Office, right? Do they know how to create an Excel file and put data in it? Do they know how to write a letter in Word? It's amazing how often I use Microsoft Office in my business. Have they ever used a CRM? This is a great one here. Do they own a home or any real estate? Can you imagine going to a car lot and the car salesman, you ask him a question and the salesman or the salesperson says, I don't know, I never drove a car before. Do you want to buy a car from that person? I'm not saying that somebody living in an apartment can't be a superstar agent. I'm just saying these are the questions that I ask, okay? And by the time I'm done with this list, I have a pretty good feel for whether I want to tell that person, go down the street to Coldwell Banker, because they're going to give you everything. They're going to take half your money, but they're going to give you everything, and maybe you'll succeed there because they're not going to ask you these questions, okay? So that's my agent criteria list, okay? So let's get rid of that. Let's go back.
That was good.
Here. Good. I'm on the right track?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
You know, you hear this hire slow, fire fast. I don't care whether you hire fast or slow, make sure you fire fast. I've sent a half a dozen agents packing in the last 12 months because they keep coming to me wanting me to fix their problems. But then when I tell them what they need to do, they won't do it. And it doesn't bother me to say, you know what, you need to go down the street. You got 7 days to move your license or I'm sending it back to the state. Because they're just taking up my space and my time, and I'm assuming all of you are all of you working with Gary at EXP? Okay, so you know,
For the
it's a
most part,
different
there's one or two
scenario
we do
there.
have gaps.
If you sponsor somebody and they're selling one house a year, you're not really their broker. You're not really, you know what I mean? I know you're going to try to bring value to them, but it might be a different scenario. Keep in mind, I'm an independent, and I see these people or don't see them at all, which is not a good thing. So it's a little different scenario here. But even support people, I can tell pretty quick in 30 to 60 days whether they're going to cut it or not. And I just move them out now. And it might sound a little like cold-hearted, but I'll tell you, I was not that way all the time. I kept trying to fix people and give them another chance and give them counseling and I realized I'm not in the personality development business, okay? I'm in the real estate sales business. And I finally, once I got that straight, I was like, you know what? I think you're great, but this isn't working for you. There were 2 agents that I let go that I actually told them, get out of the business. This isn't for you and you're never going to succeed. And they both got out of the business and they thanked me for it. Leverage up. Okay. there's a platform that I follow. It's called Valuetainment, and I'll show you some info on that in a little bit. Patrick Bet David was an immigrant from Iran. He came to California. He got in the insurance sales business, started his own brokerage. He just sold his company 20 years later for 300 million. But he has this Valuetainment platform, which is all about teaching entrepreneurs and business owners how to scale and grow, take care of their teams, build their brand, protect their market, all that stuff. And he had a video out about when you're hiring, you got to leverage up. And I'll give you a good example. I hired 4 bookkeepers that I knew more about QuickBooks than they did. And I was constantly sitting down with them, having to teach them how to use QuickBooks. And I wound up getting rid of all 4 of them. So, and he was saying, and this is important, if you're going to hire somebody for social media, they need to be better at it than you. If you're going to hire somebody for transaction management, they better be better at it than you. And yes, does it cost more to hire 8s and 9s? Absolutely. But I'll tell you, it costs way more to hire 6s and 7s, okay? This is a good one here. This get everything in writing. I don't care if you're working with VAs, agents, anybody, support people. I'm doing this more and more now. Because every time I find something doesn't work out with somebody, I go home and my wife's like, well, did you put it in writing when you hired them? I'm like, no. Get it in writing. It doesn't have to be a contract, right? It can be a memorandum of understanding, an operating agreement, a hiring agreement, but everything, anything you can think of. What are you getting paid? When do I want you to be there? What are you going to work on? What systems are you going to use? How are we going to have accountability? We're going to meet once a week. This is especially important. And I'm going to be doing an ebook because I've had good success with virtual assistants now. I'm going to be developing an ebook on how to find, interview, hire, and manage VAs. But this is especially important if you're going to go down that road, okay? But even with your support staff, get everything in writing so they can't say like, well, you didn't say that. Like, I'll give you an example. I have a person now who's really good. And I said, this is a full-time job. But I didn't put it in writing. I should have put down there Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, but I didn't do that. And I said, well, I said it was a full-time job. Well, I know, but I thought I could do this or that, Put it in writing. It's so much easier. I want to talk about business partners because this is a way to build a team, right? I had business partners in my restaurant, my nightclub, the same group of people, and it didn't work out. And I went through a nasty business divorce. So you could, when I tell you my opinion on this, you could say, well, you're a little jaded, but in today's world, there's so much money, expertise, and help available that you don't need to get a business partner for those reasons. And statistics show the majority of business partnerships don't work out anyway, okay? 50% of marriages aren't working right now, unfortunately. So it's a higher rate in this area. I took my IRA from the corporate world and I moved it into a self-directed IRA. And I do private lending loans to real estate investors. And there is so much money available right now, it's ridiculous. And I know the other private lenders in town, we can't find enough people with deals to borrow our money right now. So there's just a lot of money out there. If you really need to find money to grow your business or buy a business, you can find the money. And if you want to buy a business, actually, I'm going to type something in here. This is another platform that I follow. Okay, this is Cody Sanchez. She owns Contrarian Thinking. And her whole platform is helping people get out of the corporate world to buy businesses. And she talks about how to finance those with little to no money out of your pocket. Good content to follow.
Cody is amazing.
What's that?
I said Cody Sanchez is amazing.
Yeah. Let's talk about expertise. I think I've learned more from YouTube in the past 5 years than I did going to RIT and get my engineering degree, okay? Taking courses are good because somebody who's really good will take all that content and put it in one place so you don't need to go look for it. But it's amazing what you can learn about any subject now. Books on Audible, YouTube. Are you guys, if you're not familiar with it, this is a platform. It's called udemy.com. There's all kinds, you can actually sell your courses out there if you want. They're $10 to $100. People put courses out there on anything, making pot holders, right? Making soap, buying real estate. Okay. The expertise is there and it's free. And as far as time goes, this is one I think that uproots business partnerships more than anything else, because one person will put the money in and the other one says, I'm going to run it. And if it becomes successful, the person running it, it doesn't take long before they go, wait a minute, I'm doing all the work. And the business partnership just crashes. There's a lot of ways to leverage other people's knowledge, other people's network, other people's property. You can, if you can't do it, you can find people to do it. Okay. You know, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more, but as you can tell, I don't love business partnerships.
Mhm.
Here's another one. This is really important. I have over 100 videos on my YouTube channel. And if you want to see my videos, if you go on YouTube and you search under Erie Real Estate, you'll see the different videos I'm doing. It's great to have methods to go out and find people for your team, but are they finding you? Are you doing such a good job that people are coming to you? And, you know, Patrick Bet-David's Valuetainment platform, I found him because I was searching for content on, you know, entrepreneurship, started watching his content. His take on everything really resonated with me. And now I go to his events. And I have agents, I have people calling me all the time that want to be agents because they're seeing my videos. You know, part of it is stuff on the market. Some is community stuff. Like, you know, I'm working on a video now, the 5 best places to go hiking in Erie County. And then when I get listings, I do walkthrough videos. I think I have about 450 subscribers, but my YouTube channel has brought me a ton of business. But it's making people find me and want to work with me or work for me. Okay. So are people finding you? And by the way, if you go to Valuetainment, Patrick Bet-David is a great guy to follow online. In fact, well, I'll talk about these 2 events here in a little bit. This is another big one I think that's important. Are you growing, right? Are you getting certifications? Are you taking courses? Are you reading books? Every time we have a team meeting, I'm sharing a video that I watched and I'm like, listen, everybody has to watch this video. I'm giving them books. I'm going to these events and coming back and I'm like, gosh, look at this. I recorded all these videos when I was at the event. If you don't grow your value, then your team is going to outgrow you. Okay. Are you creating ebooks? Are you creating courses? You have to increase your value proposition. Otherwise your team is going to outgrow you. You know, if you don't have a coach, how can you tell your agents to get a coach? And they're the number 1 agent in my market. She's not number 1 anymore, but she was number 1 for 15 years. She never, ever did not have a real estate coach, ever, for 15 years. And she was, and in fact, one point, she was the number 1 agent in the state of Pennsylvania. So again, are you growing, right? Are you investing in people? Are you investing in your team? Can you see this book right here? Okay, I bought one of these for everybody on my team. It's called Exactly What to Say for Real Estate Agents. Okay, so when I see a good book, I buy one for everybody on the team. I've decided to hang my hat on YouTube. It's been amazing. This is a really good book on YouTube for real estate agents. Bought one for everybody on the team. Digital marketing playbook for realtors to dominate your market. Bought one for everybody on the team. Bought one for everybody on the team. You feeling me?
Mhm.
I'm bringing value to my team, okay? I can't make them read them, but at least they're getting it. Here's another one. If an agent walked into my office and said, give me $1,000 so I can go get my ABR or my SRS, I'd give it to him right there. I wouldn't even hesitate. Okay, because I invest in people. Emily Barjelski, who is my broker of record, and the reason why I made her the broker of record, she's a great trainer. She helps me with support, and it's allowed me to go back and sell more because I'm just crushing it as a sales agent. And I realized I'm better off being the number 1 agent at my company than being the broker who doesn't sell. But it cost me about $3,000. I paid for her to go get her broker's license. And I'm taking her to SLS with me. Let's talk about SLS here. So SLS, this is a Patrick. This is important. Actually, this is really important for all of you because you are trying to build your own team in the EXP hierarchy. Sales Leadership Summit is not about selling. This is for people who are leading a team of salespeople. And I went to this last year. It's an amazing event. And I'm taking Emily with me this year. And it's 2 full days this year. Patrick Bet-David is on stage the whole time, and he's sharing everything he did to make his company in 20 years become a $300 million company. And it comes with a big binder, and you're sitting there taking notes. Talks about recruiting, retainment, you know, fighting off problems from competitors, building your brand, awards and contests. I mean, it's all about managing and finding and developing and recruiting. It's a really great event. And it's based on everything he did when he sold his company, I think he had 50,000 sales agents across the US. So it doesn't matter whether you're hiring insurance salespeople or real estate salespeople, it is 100% applicable. So this is my investment in Emily. I'm bringing her to this event, okay? Let's go back here. Where was I? Nope, we're not there yet. Hold on. Okay. So are you investing in your team? This is a good one, retainment. I personally think it's very easy to find people who think they want to sell real estate, okay? And again, I'm an independent. It's probably a better platform for a new person. I almost went into EXP, and that's how Gary and I wound up talking a couple of years ago. And it's debatable. I hear different things about whether EXP is right for new people or not. I think it depends on who your sponsor is. Is your sponsor right for you if you're a new person? That's what really matters. But retainment is huge because you know, you can spend a ton of time helping people succeed in this business and they can just walk right out the door. And in fact, I always say this about my real estate investment portfolio, and this is why you should own income property. I have some motels, right? One of my motels isn't going to walk in my office tomorrow and say, hey, Joe, I appreciate the $100,000 you put into me to make me look great, but I've decided I want to be owned by somebody else. I'll see you later. Can't happen, right? I own that real estate. And the other thing I don't like about our business, you know, when I was an engineer, if somebody wanted to recruit me, they had to put everything in writing. The salary, my title, my vacation time, the benefits. These brokers call my agents and they promise them the sky and they don't have to put any of it in writing. So retainment, you got to be good at retainment, okay? It's easy to recruit people. Everybody wants to be a get a real estate license. I could have 100 agents right now if I wasn't so picky. And again, this is a great statement. If you don't take care of your team, someone else will. And so a lot of this is like, you know, are you investing in your people? Are you growing as a professional? Are you growing your value? So that's a big part of retainment. And then also like, are you like giving them recognition when they do good things? Are you having contests, awards? You know, like Gary's got all of his courses and his content to share. Are you doing that? You know, like if you've got a great listing appointment, you should create an ebook for that. So now you've got an ebook to share with your team. Now I realize EXP has a ton of content, so maybe you don't need to do it. I don't know, but okay. So I think that's the bottom of team building. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, let's go back. I think I skipped over VAs. I apologize. So these are 2 sites where I find VAs. Online Jobs PH is a Philippines site. And again, if you're going to hire a VA, I mean, hope you don't take this the wrong way, but they need to be able to speak English because you're going to be on Zoom calls with them and you're going to be typing. The people in the Philippines will work during our time zones. A lot of them have great skills and, you know, they don't charge a lot of money. And again, I'm going to be putting together an ebook. And anytime I put together an ebook, if you're on my mailing list on Self-Made Wealth, you get it automatically. I have a very good ebook because I've done a lot of work on VAs, and they're definitely worth it. When you find a good one, they get a ton of work done. They charge you very little money. Fiverr's another one. I've had luck finding good people on Fiverr. But and a friend of mine, he's got 100 rental units. He's an engineer actually, and his wife is Emily, my broker of record. But he just hired a real estate VA who's doing all his books, entering all the income, the receipts, all that stuff, communicating with the tenants if they're not paying, renewing their leases. He said she's great. And these people get $8, $10 an hour. Okay. But anyway, that's my blurb on VAs. Again, if you go to selfmadewealth.co and just download any ebook, and you'll be in my mailing list if you click on the ebooks, and we're going to go there in a second. Then you'll be in the list, and then anytime I put any new content, you'll get it. Also, you can find my podcast on there. It's Job Free Economy, and it's on Stitcher, Spotify, iHeart, and Apple if you want to get the feed. And the podcast is all about mindset, the mindset of building wealth and personal financial freedom. So anyway, that's team building. I'm going to click on my chat. I want these lists, Joe. Okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to email everything to Gary. Okay, and then Gary can distribute it all to all of you. Yeah, I love Patrick. Yeah, Patrick Bet-David's great. Can you post a book list? Yes, I'll type that list of books with the authors in that email to Gary.
Hey, Joe, copy Beverly on that too,
Okay, will do.
on the
Will
email.
do.
Yeah, because she was going to
Any-
put a recording of this out tomorrow, and anything attachments, things like that, she'll put right in there along with the recording.
All right, awesome.
Yeah.
Any other questions on team building?
We got more to cover, guys, but so we can always come back to this after class. But if you think about it, even if all you're doing is hiring a VA just to help take some of your administrative duties off your plate, it frees you up. I mean, think about it. If you could have somebody that just works 5 hours a week, 1 hour a day to do basic admin stuff, that 1 hour times 5 hours, you could probably get another transaction. You know, you could kick off a new marketing campaign, all kinds of possibilities are, or how about this? Some of you want to, you're not really interested in having a giant team, but you wouldn't mind having a partner. And you want to hire a buyer's agent so you can focus on getting listings, right? This is where this stuff becomes valuable. So, you know, I wanted you to talk about this because we do have people on our team actually building their own teams, right? Shastine, Anna, Brienne, you know, you guys know Gina, of course, she's doing it. Gina has a coaching program. This platform was designed for that. It wasn't designed to be the Gary Wilson team. My name's not even on the team. So, you know, all the listings go in your name, all the sales go in your name, all the leads go on your database. All those things were designed on purpose to create an opportunity for you to build your brand, your model, and your vision. It's all about entrepreneurs. Growth is the key word. Joe, talk about growth for a second? The growth or the lack thereof. You know, it's like darkness. Darkness only exists where there's no light. So
When you say
we
growth
can
or the lack thereof, you mean like for my team?
as an entrepreneur, any business owner. I mean,
Yeah.
I love it when I talk to business owners and they say, "Well, I'm not really interested in growing." That's not. It's not even logical. It's not
Yeah.
even rational.
Well, let me touch on that.
Yeah.
I mean, one of my ebooks, it's called the Clarity Toolkit, and that's on Self-Made Wealth. Because one day I was working like crazy, and I'm like, where am I going with this? What is there any end game here? And because I'm selling, I'm helping Emily manage the brokerage. I got my rental properties. I'm working on Self-Made Wealth, and I said, though, what's the ultimate thing here that I'm trying to accomplish? Excuse me. And I was watching some content by I don't know if it was Jim Rohn or Zig Ziglar, right? Because I like to watch personal improvement stuff. And I think it was Zig Ziglar, and he was talking about trying to be clear what it is you want. And so I took out a sheet of paper and I said, I'm going to write down, how do I want my life to go? And it was kind of at that macro level, like what kind of financial freedom do I want? What kind of personal freedom do I want? And then I took out another sheet of paper and I said, why do I want those things? And then I took out another sheet of paper and I said, what are the ways, how can I get them, right? Like, is it selling more properties? Is it adding more agents? Is it getting more rental properties? Is it buying an e-com company? Is it manufacturing a product? And that was the birth of the Clarity Toolkit. And I was able to get really clear about what I wanted and what was the best way for me to get it. And in fact, a lot of the content in that Clarity Toolkit was from when I did that. I actually left a lot of my own answers in there. So I think that's important. Like, if your goal is to have 30 agents and you get 30 agents and you're going to be happy, there's nothing wrong with that. There's a book called, I don't remember the name. It's like the Mighty Little Real Estate Investor, where the book is about, okay, there's a real estate investor that's got whatever, 30 units. He or she is super happy. They run it really well. They don't want any more because they want that good work-life balance or whatever. You have to decide what you want out of life. But if you want to grow, it's about mindset more than anything else. Because if your mindset keeps growing, you're going to get the right people on your team. You're going to find more clients who want to buy and sell. You're going to do better things on social media. And Gary mentioned, if you go on my selfmadewealth.co, well, I'm going to go there. Here, let's go there.
Okay.
Here's my book. And I'm not trying to sell you my book, but this book is about the 6 life assets that I realized I was failing in. All these 6 life assets. And that's why my life was terrible. And once I focused on all the right things to do with these 6 life assets, in the last 12 years, my life has just exponentially gotten better. And by the way, if you go on Self-Made Wealth and take down and download any of the ebooks, I'll send you a PDF copy of this for free. But it's a really good book. But you need to double down on you and your mindset and your self-improvement, because you can do anything, you'll get anything else you want if you do that, okay? But that Clarity Toolkit is really good to get real specific in writing. What is it you want, right? If you want to drive, if you live in New York City and you go, okay, I'm going to drive to Chicago, you know where you're going. But, if you just hop in your car and start driving, you're just going to drive around in circles, right? But, I'm driving, I'm going somewhere, I don't know where. Get clear on what you want, why you want it, and how you're going to get it, okay? And by the way, what you want is that first page, like, what do I want? The things that were on there for me were like, okay, I want to have a house in Florida and I want to spend 5 months out of the year in Florida. And I want to be doing work that I can do there or up in Pennsylvania. And I want to be able to take a fishing trip to like New Zealand every year, once a year. I want to take my wife to France, to Paris for a month. That's on my list. I play a lot of tennis, and there's tennis on grass courts, hard courts, and clay courts. And right now the clay court circuit has begun. And the very first tournament just played out in Monte Carlo. And then they're going to go to Madrid. They're going to go Barcelona. They go to Rome. They go to Munich. And then they wind up in Paris at the French Open. And it's about a 10-week stretch. And one of my goals is for all 10 weeks to follow that tournament. That's what I want out of life. Okay. And it's funny because like I was telling I got married 11 years ago, and I was telling and I was broke. I just went through a bad business divorce and I was broke. And that's when this book came out. That's when I started writing this book. And I was telling my wife this stuff and she thought I was nuts. And now I'm buying motels and going to New Zealand. He's like, all right, this guy's not so crazy after all. But you got to know what you want, okay? It doesn't have to be that big if you don't want it to be that big. One of my things I want is, no matter what happens to my sisters or my wife or my nieces, I want to be able to take care of them financially. That's on that what do I want, okay? I want to be able to do more philanthropy. That's on that list. And then I said, the next thing is why, but Clarity Toolkit is great. And then if you do the Clarity Toolkit, here, let's go right here to ebook because we're just jumping right in now. Well, stop going to my ebooks. That's great. Oh, I didn't click on ebooks. Sorry. So these are all my ebooks. Okay. These are free. You just download them. That's the Clarity Toolkit. So now that you know, like, what you want, why, and how, you got to set goals. And this is my plan that I have used to create and get some really big goals. So I put it into an ebook. It's called Goal Mastery. Okay. Just download it for free. If you like to write out your gratitudes and journal and write out your whys and your what I loves and what I wants. I created this money playbook. It's a journal. You can download it. There's a cash flow creed is in here that I designed. It's interesting, you know, that's another thing that I really changed in the last decade is my mindset about money. You know, it's okay if a person collects, you know, beer cans or coins, or they collect whatever. I don't know what people collect now, watches. But if you want a lot of money, people say, oh, you're selfish and you're shallow. That's not true. I love money and I want to get as much of it as I can in a highly ethical way so I can do more things for other people. Okay. The more money I have, the more philanthropy I can do, the more experiences I can share with my family, and the more security I have if something goes wrong. Okay. Will your business idea work? This is another ebook that I wrote that assesses whether you have an idea that's evergreen, scalable, and can make you quit your job and have a high level of financial freedom. This is a good one. Is real estate investing for you? Because it's not for everybody. Okay. I haven't added. You can see the text here isn't added yet. But this is a good ebook, and I'm going to pull it up real quick. Part of it. But this is my ebook on why I think real estate investing is possible for the largest amount of people. And with that said, let me go right here, because here's some of the notes from it. Right. You know, it's easy entry, right? You can start small. You don't need to go to college. You don't have to quit your day job, right? You can go buy a 2-unit and learn the business. There's all kinds of networking groups. I'm in a mastermind group with 20 investors here in the area. It's great. Every time I leave that event, I'm motivated to do what somebody else in the room is doing. You got trade organizations, conferences. You can use other people's money to buy it. You can, you know, it's one of the businesses. Like, I buy a property now and I just hand the keys to my team. I love it. I don't do anything. My tenants don't call me. I got a great bookkeeper. I got a great office manager. I got a great boots on the ground PM. We got a couple of handy people. In fact, when they call me, I'm like, why are you calling me? So there's the leverage in real estate investing is fabulous. I could spend half a year in Florida and still own all my properties here in Pennsylvania. There's all kinds of creative ways to get started, right? Flipping, wholesaling, land contracts. You don't need to be a builder, right? You can buy existing inventory. The product is evergreen, right? What's evergreen? Oxygen. We're always going to need oxygen, right? Water, food, clothing. What's next? Shelter. It's an evergreen product. It's never going away. When I tell somebody, I call this the Aflac test. So my cousin gets his license to sell Aflac, and he calls me and he says, hey, you want to have lunch? I want to tell you all about Aflac. Now, when you see the commercials for Aflac, you see that duck running around, and on the commercial, they tell you, if you get sick or hurt, we're going to give you money to pay your bills. And that is not what it is. Because he says to me at lunch, he goes, well, what do you know about Aflac? I go, well, if I get sick, they'll give me money to pay my bills. He said, well, not exactly. By the time he was done explaining it, I had less of an understanding of what it was. But if you when somebody says to you, what do? You say, well, I help people buy and sell real estate. Boom, they know what that is, right? That's what I love about real estate investing and real estate in general. Everybody knows what it is and everybody knows they need it. The guy that owns Paul Mitchell hair products, he's a billionaire. And he has other businesses and endeavors. But he said, I think it was him, or either it was the guy that owns the Patron vodka or tequila company. But he said, you don't want to be in the sales business. You want to be in the reorder business. Okay. And that's a great statement. And as realtors, we're in the reorder business. We don't have to convince somebody they need a house, right? We have to find the people who need it. Or we don't have to convince them. I never talk somebody into selling their house. We have to find the people that already know they want to sell it, right? Or they have to find us. But Aflac, you got to convince somebody that they want to buy it, and you need to educate them on what it is. So that's why I love real estate. I call it the Aflac test. You're in the reorder business. There it is right there. The rents come in good markets or bad markets. Now, don't get me wrong. The office sector is having a lot of challenges right now because, you know, people have not fully come back to work. But when you're in apartments, self-storage, motels, it's pretty stable. You can bloom where you're grown. Okay. Pennsylvania is not a growth market. Erie County is, the whole county is about 280,000 people. That room of 20 real estate investors that I'm with, the net worth there is 2 million to 10 million per person. Okay. You don't need to move to Chicago or LA or Miami to build wealth with real estate. There's no ceiling. I have the one guy that runs that mastermind group. He has over 2,000 apartments, and now he's buying complexes in Cleveland, which is about 90 minutes away. This is beautiful right here, right? This is the great thing about owning a business. When you're a W-2 employee or a 1099, you pay taxes on your income. The government does not care if you have enough money to pay your bills. They want their cut up front. But when you're a business owner, you pay taxes on what's left over. And in real estate, there's a lot of ways to minimize your taxes, okay? I'm sure you've heard this acronym, IDEAL, right? Income, depreciation, equity, appreciation, and leverage. These are all the positive reasons why you should be in real estate investing. This is I'm not going to get into the rest of this content. I do want to show you something, though. This is a great app that I downloaded. And I look at all of you people right now as your team builders, right? And your mentors and your coaches. I'm going to put this real close. Okay. Do you see that app right there, Otter? Download otter.ai on your phone. This is a voice recording app that I use constantly to record my ideas and concepts. And then it saves it as an MP3 file and in text. So even like if you want to just record an audio clip to your agents going, hey, I just watched this video today. These are the 5 things that I learned. It was, on YouTube. It's this person's channel, da 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 da. It'll put that together in an MP3 file, and it'll create all the text if you want to put it in a blog. It's a really great tool. I use it all the time. And I'm just telling you that because this was just me blabbing on Otter, and look at all this text it captured. I don't have to retype that now. I just exported it out to my email, and now I can make an ebook out of that, right? Otter AI is a great creativity tool, and you can link it to your calendar. I don't even use it like the way smart people use it. I use it like a layman, but it's still great. Any questions about this? I'm going to talk
Yes,
some more
how
about
do you spell the name of that app again, please?
Otter AI, just like the animal, OTTER
Oh,
.ai. Yep,
okay,
Otter
great.
AI.
And I see Michael McGrand has his hand raised.
Yep, I'm going to try to get back to, let me minimize that. I'm going to try to get back to the chat thing. I'm such a novice. Come on now. Is it in the chat?
He just has his hand raised.
Oh, well, go ahead.
Earlier, I raised my hand because you recommended some books. You held them up. Was wondering if how we would get your recommended reading list.
I'm going to put the titles and the authors' names in that email to Gary.
Great, thank you. The presentation's been great. Thank you.
Oh, good. Thank you. Yeah, everything, all these Word documents you're seeing, everything, I'm just going to put it all in an email and just ship it over to Gary. And like I said, if you go to selfmadewealth.co, all these ebooks are here. They're free. There's nothing for sale here. And like I said, if you get any of these ebooks, I'll send you a PDF copy of my book. I just want to show you one other thing, because I am working on a course. I'm taking everything I've learned in real estate investing in the last 25 years, and I'm making a really good buy and hold course for income properties. And it's going to have all my documents that I use, step-by-step processes, everything. It's going to be my business. Now that is going to have a price, but it's in the works. And if you download any of this, you'll be in my email list. And then when it comes out, I'll give it to you. So let me just pull up, let's see here. So this is a PowerPoint slide from my course. And let me see if I can just run it real quick. This is just module 1. Okay. Can you see this okay?
Yep.
Yep.
Yes, thanks.
What's that?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So it's called How to Buy or Rent a Property in 90 Days or Less. And I had been teaching this in a classroom for years, and now I'm going to digitize it, record all the videos, and I'm going to put it on like Teachable. And by the way, if you want to create your own learning platform for your team, and I'll put this in Gary's email, Thinkific, Teachable, and Kajabi are great places to host courses. And you can use Loom, Loom, or Camtasia to record this stuff. So you make your lessons in PowerPoint, you run the slide, you turn on your screen recorder, and then, you know, your face will be in a little, you know, camera up here, and you can literally teach your team. And then when you're done, you put those videos up in Teachable, and then you just make it a free course. And you just start developing your education platform for your team right in, you know, Thinkific, Teachable, or Kajabi. Eventually, this course will be a book. And that's going to be the cover of the book. But there's a little bit about me. There's my wife and my 3 dogs. That's some of my great fishing trips, my vacations. There's some of my properties. These are properties I've sold. I want to get to, okay. So there's going to be a PowerPoint slide and a video for every one of these modules, okay? And you don't have to worry about it now, but we've done all the PowerPoint presentations. I'm going to start recording these. So the course will probably be out in about 30 or 40 days. But I can tell you it'll be very reasonably priced. But if you want to become a real estate investor, there isn't anything better out there. There might be something as good, but there's nothing better. This is how I do everything. It's all the mistakes I've made, it's the successes, and every single document I use, my onboarding, offboarding, everything, rental criteria, our maintenance forms, every single thing will be in there. And then this is the rest of the modules there. So it's going to cover everything, you know, leasing, management, what do I do after I buy a property, financing the deal, right? How to find deals, taxes, bookkeeping, all the times I've ever had to get money. I have a great business plan that I wrote up that I think everybody should create. It's just a template, but it makes you ask a lot of questions before you start buying properties. How do you inspect the physical due diligence, right? How do you analyze the operating and the cap rate and the cash on cash? It's all going to be in here. You get spreadsheets, everything. So that's another reason to download an ebook, because when this comes out live, I'll send you a link to this. Anyway, what else can I
Okay.
tell you?
You guys, you got quite a load tonight, didn't you?
Actually, you know what I'm going to do when I email you,
Huh?
Gary? I'm just going to email Gary the PDF version of my book, so he can just share it with everybody. And that book, again,
Awesome.
it's called Get Rich in 5 Hours. It has nothing to do with money. It has nothing to do with like go buy crypto. It's all about how I totally re-engineered my mindset, and now everything I want and do is just taken off. And it was all because of this. It wasn't because I invented something. It wasn't because I created the next Facebook. It was all mindset, and that's what it's all about. And that book is about these, what I call the 6 life assets, what not to do with them and what to do with them. But anyway, I'll send that to Gary as well. I
Okay.
hope that helps.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure there'll be some questions. I know, Joe, one of the things I want to ask about is, so on your team, do your guys each have their own CRM or like CRM account? Like, you give them a CRM and they all have their own account, or they get to go out and get their own CRM, top producer versus others? How do
Yeah.
you handle that part of it?
Well, I host my website on Playster because, you know, that's one of the downfalls of being an independent. You got to, like, everything's a la carte, right? We use .loop.
Yep.
I like .loop. You know, when we join our MLS, we get the free version of Zip Forms, but it's terrible. It's very unintuitive. And I looked at Sky Slope. I looked at .loop, and I liked .loop. So everybody does get a version of .loop. Our website is hosted from Playster. It's a real estate brokerage company. Well, with Playster, we get a CRM and a website from that. Every agent does. Now, again, trying to get people to use it, it's not that easy. But again, if you look at the stats, people that have sales coaches, people who use CRMs, they make 30 to 40% more money than everybody else. Just a fact.
Mhm.
Does that answer
Yep.
that question?
So yes, yeah, and yeah, definitely. Now for CRM, do you tell them which one they have to use, or do they just pick their own? Or
No. Follow Up Boss is very good. If you want
Yep.
an inexpensive, simple one, it's called Lion Desk. Might be 30 bucks a month.
Yep.
You know, if you want to do all kinds of like email marketing from it and sales letters and because there's a difference between a marketing system and a CRM system. Like we've all heard of
Yeah.
Constant Contact. That is a
Mhm.
sales and marketing system. It does have a CRM in it. Lion Desk is just a CRM. You can set, you know, you can put all your contacts in it. It does integrate with like Zillow and Realtor.com and excuse me, Trulia. I think it even integrated with Playster. So your leads will flow in there. You set, you set, reminders and follow-up tasks, but it doesn't come with drip campaigns or anything. One of the things I've used was, oh gosh, Real Geeks. Now, Real Geeks is not
Yep.
cheap, but you get a website that's built around lead gen, and it has it creates the Facebook pixel for you to go out and do Facebook ads and then when people click on those Facebook ads, they go right to wherever you want them to go on that Real Geek site. And you can use forced registration or not. They go right into your system. You can set up automatic drip campaigns, whether they're text, email. You can have text and email videos. But that's $200 or $300 a month, right? You get what you pay for.
Yep.
I hear top producer, we all know that one, but I hear there's so much stuff in there, people don't even use all the content.
Yep.
So,
We use KV. We get KV Core, which is it's a combo CRM marketing platform, and it's probably one of the biggest, most robust ones out there. But it does mean there's a giant learning curve. So one of the things we've been really pushing. Well, actually, let me ask you. So you mentioned that people with a CRM make 30 to 40% more than people that don't, but it's really because they use it. So do you have a like a basic set of things you have your guys do, like load all your, make sure all your records are on your CRM, and then do these three things or one thing or two things. Um, if I would like to, and I know these people are thinking, Gary, we've heard it. We know you want us to put our records on a CRM, but I'm telling you, it is so vitally important, particularly when you have a market like it is now. You have to leverage. Well, actually, let me. I want to hear from
sure.
your point of view. You might say it better than I do, maybe.
Well, no, you're doing great, but here's the thing. It's about follow-up, okay? And this has always been the case. Follow-up didn't just become important when COVID came along. I will tell you, 80% of my business comes from follow-up. I've literally called somebody every 6 months for 5 years to sell their 15-unit investment property. And I got both sides of it because I had a buyer, and I think my commission was 18 grand. Was it worth it for me to make a phone call to this guy once every 6 months for 5 years for a check for $18,000? You better believe it. I think if there's one area I've excelled in, well, probably two. One is meeting people. If you drew a graph, right, like on the y-axis, how many people you know, and on the x-axis, how much money you make, it's going to be like this linear line. The more people you know, the more money you make. It's just that simple. I don't care whether you get in a golf league, start a Philadelphia Eagles fan club, start a cornhole league, join Rotary, get in B&I, start your own networking referral group. It's all about people. And I have about 4,500 contacts in Google Contacts. And anytime I got anybody's contact information, whether it was an investor that looked at my listing, an attorney that was at a closing, I was religious about feeding that database. It's funny, I say this. If my house burned down tomorrow, as long as my wife and my dogs didn't get hurt, I'd be okay with it. If somebody stole my contacts tomorrow, I think I would jump off of a bridge. Okay. That's how I feel about my data. If you go on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, I'm bouncing around here, but I created 8 or 9 videos, and they're called the Golden Rules for Real Estate Sales Success. and they're wisdom based. And one of them is data is money. And I came from the corporate world. I was in the IT department in data warehousing, and companies, that data, they make all these strategic decisions about data. And it's going to get even worse with like facial recognition now and artificial intelligence. You're going to walk into a store, they're going to scan your face, and they're going to tailor your whole experience in that store from the minute you walk in. They're going to connect it to everything you bought, everything you viewed. And that's a whole other discussion. But the point is, data is money. Every single
Sorry to interrupt you, Joe, but that's already happening at Walmart.
Yes, okay. But the point is, what tool you use to leverage that data is up to you, okay? A CRM system is just crafted to make that easier, okay? And if you get a CRM system that's for real estate and you can design the drip campaign, and when they come in, they automatically get a drip campaign, then it's like a virtual assistant. They're doing work for you. And I just want to mention this too. There are VAs out there that specialize in lead gen and follow-up, okay? And you can not only use them with your clients, if you developed a good SOP, which is a standard operating procedure on how to recruit people to EXP, who you're looking for, when do you want to contact them? What do you want the conversation to be? What do you want that VA to set up an appointment with you? What do you want the VA to send them? And then just go find a VA and let them churn and burn for you. You're going to build your team, okay? Again, everything's about leverage, and the more you get good at leverage, the better off you're going to be. And a CRM tool is just a good way to leverage things. But yeah, follow-up is king, queen, whatever you want to call it. That's where the money is, especially with these Zillow leads. I can't get it through my agents. They'll set the appointment, they'll show the house, person doesn't like the house, and then never call me. They're just starting their home buying journey. They're going to buy sooner or later. The only question is who's going to be talking to them when they decide to find that house they're going to buy. And that CRM is just an automated way to stay in touch. So I don't know I hope that tells you how important CRM is. But it's just a tool.
I'm gonna send you the $20 tomorrow. I just
But here's the thing
no.
though.
Yeah.
The CRM doesn't do anything for you, right? Like a VA isn't going to do anything. You have to tell that VA, here's my SOP, here's your role, here's what I want you to do, here's how you do it. Then they'll do a good job, right? And it's the same thing with a CRM. If you don't put data in it, if you don't attach drip campaigns, and then you don't occasionally get in there and call people, well, then it's not going to work. You know what I mean? It's a tool that's just going to sit on the shelf. So you get out of it what you put in it, no doubt.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. I've mentioned this before, everybody, and if I haven't, please forgive me. But I know when I first started, Joe, I really didn't. I had a coach, and he was telling me you got to build your CRM. Well, back then, to me, a CRM was an Excel spreadsheet. He said just use a spreadsheet. Later on, we'll get fancier. We'll spend more money. But right now, got to focus on identifying and categorizing, cataloging your contacts. You should everything, like you mentioned, data. Data was vital. He said you should put all your notes in there, every conversation. Well, I didn't do it because I thought that sounds like a lot of work. And my next sentence was, I need to get a transaction now. I don't have time for all that. And I can hear myself still saying it today. And the fact is, 3 years later, when I finally realized the wisdom of what he was telling me, I started doing it. And within a few short years, I mean, it was probably not even 2 years, I wasn't, all my business was coming from my database, every bit of it, you know? And I thought,
Yeah.
my, I wish I'd have listened and did that from day one, but I didn't because I couldn't see the value. I didn't have the vision of why that was so important. And it's all about relationship building, follow up. I just can't emphasize that enough. And right now, with volume being low, now, Joe, we have people on here tonight from all over the country, and we do have some guests on there. Not everybody's on the team. And even people I've brought in the EXP, they're not all on the team either. That my team is a true production team. And we wonderful, awesome people. Everybody's just amazing. And we got a lot of newer people in the last year. And I find myself going back to where I was when I first started out. And I try to recall all those things I was taught and the things I wish I'd have done from day one. And that was really the one thing is get my records cataloged, categorized, and everything I knew about them. And it's made all the difference in the world. I mean, I literally, there were times I'd have as many as 22 active pending transactions personally on my desk. And at the time, I didn't think it was anything spectacular. I just thought that was normal. I
Yeah.
didn't realize how spectacular that was till I started. My broker said, I need to get a fresh picture of you. You're going to be in the paper. And jokingly, I said, what did I do? What I do now, you know? And he said, no, you just broke a record for an individual solo agent. I had no idea. And I
Wow.
just kept my head down and
Awesome.
kept hustling. But that was really the turning point for me. And I realized it was all those things you just talked about. You know,
Yeah.
you're contacting people, follow up. It's every 6 months. That's our rule is minimum every 3 months for category one people, every 6 months for category two, at least once a year for category three. And category one's obviously your inner circle, most inner circle. Category two is everybody else you know. Category
Yeah.
three is people you probably really don't know. But that's where the business will come from.
I'll
So,
share something
hey
else
guys,
with
I'm
you.
talking way too. What's
Oh, go
that?
ahead.
Yeah, go
Sorry.
ahead.
I tell my agents when they get a Zillow lead, call them, text them, and email them. Okay. And we do that for 3 days in a row. And then you can do it every 3 or 4 days and then fall back to, you know, putting them on a drip. Because what I found is some people are on text. They respond to text, right? Some people, believe it or not, all they do is email. Some people will answer the phone. And once you figure out which one they respond to, then that's the one you use. But I will tell you, and I'm going to tell you something else too. If they look at a house on Zillow and then Zillow tries to connect me and they don't want to get connected, I go right on the MLS. I take the link to the MLS. I put it in the email to them because Zillow gives you their email address. I get the seller disclosures. I attach it. I email them like I'm their realtor. I'm not playing, right? I send them this email like I'm their realtor. And then I text them, call them, and email them. Well, they get the email, but I text them, call them, get, hey, I sent you the disclosure. I sent you this. The house, last time the house sold, it sold for this. It's been on the market 5 days. When do you want to see it? And I will tell you, I get so much connection with people when you give them that value up front. But then
Yep.
again, if they text me, then that's it. Boom. I'm texting them from there on out because I know that's what they're responding to. But 3, 4 days in a row, text, email, and call every day. The other thing I do is, you know, in our MLS, we have that auto email feature. I also, if they were looking at a house in Fairview for $300,000, I go into the MLS, I set them up on an auto email, 200 or 400,000, any house in Fairview, because I want them getting content from me every day. I want that person to engage. That's follow up. And if you're good at it and you're just gonna sell, you're gonna sell a ton of real estate. There's no doubt about it. It's all about
Yeah.
follow up.
Yeah. So, hey guys, if you got questions, now's the time to ask. We're probably having another 10 minutes here. We usually go about an hour and a half, Joe, hour of content and half-hour Q&A. But one thing I really like is the fact that you do invest because I do want our guys to have multiple streams of income. And we work with all clients. We don't just work with investors. But the reason we have a platform just on investing is most brokerages don't. EXP doesn't have an investor platform. None of them do. I mean, I was at some of the
Yeah.
best companies in the world, but it's a big part of our business. And the main thing that it does is number one, allows you to meet some pretty awesome people, get some great contacts, you get repeat business, but it immerses you in the business more of investing. So ultimately, eventually, you're going to be in a position to invest yourself, not just because you're financially able, but because you're intellectually able. You've seen enough transactions. You can identify instinctively and intuitively a good deal. That's why I want our guys to work with investors so they can have that passive income too. The kind that's only taxed on profit, not income. And it, by the way, guys, rental income is called passive not because it means you don't work. You definitely have to work at building a portfolio. It's a term in the IRS that means it's not earned income like you went to a job every day. And because it's passive, what that means and money in your pocket is you don't pay FICA on that. Look at your pay stubs from past jobs. You'll see all kinds of deductions. But one thing you will never see on a tax bill for rental property is FICA. Only the income itself is taxed. You're not paying for Social Security on that. I'm not making any judgment about Social Security. I'm just telling you it's a great way to save some money. Yes, sir.
I'm raising my real hand.
There you go.
Another reason I find that realtors that own rental property are better realtors, and we can advise our clients when they're buying and selling better than other agents, because you're just going to learn so much about everything, the water, the sewer, the furnaces, the HVAC, the roofs, what it costs to do things. My clients love it when I'm walking through a house and I'm like, it's going to need this and it's going to cost you X, and I got a person that can do that. They're like, wow, I'm working with the right realtor, right? Second reason I love it is
Yep.
there's no pension in this business, right? What's your pension? Now, if you got a spouse that's in the service or as a school teacher, good for you. But if you don't have a pension, my real estate investment portfolio is my pension. If I stop working as a realtor, the money goes away. Third reason I like it is I'm not even worried about what's going on with these NAR lawsuits or the market or anything, because my tenants just keep sending me checks every month. So it's financial security. You want to grow that. It's just, those are three great reasons to own income property.
Yeah. You know, one of my favorite, I guess you call it a line, my favorite lines was consumers. I very rarely got questioned. That's what's funny about this business is you've heard the old saying, people that sell their home usually go with the first agent that they talk to at the moment they decide to need to sell. Well, I only had a few clients over the years ever question me, like, why should they use me? But my favorite line was, think about it. Who would you want to have selling your most valued possession? Somebody that just knows how to help you buy and sell your own home, or somebody that knows how to live off real estate and can show you how to do the same thing? And I never had anybody ever say no to me when I said that, you know?
Absolutely.
So, yep,
Awesome.
yep. Everybody okay? This is being awfully quiet tonight. Hey, that's okay. You know, there's good content. Hey,
You
how
got
would
it
you
off the
guys like
block.
to, yeah, how would you guys like to hear from Joe again sometime? Maybe a few months down the road, like a specific, yeah, I'm telling you.
Anytime, my pleasure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. And there's so much uh, golden nuggets here that I'm still processing. I didn't even have a chance to ask a question because it's still processing.
Yeah.
And
If you made a note on
it,
something and you want some clarity, just shoot me that email and I'll elaborate.
and thank you. And also, Gary owes you another $20. It should be $40 because you said exactly what he's been telling us for the last 2 months, at least. Thank you.
yeah,
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. No doubt.
yeah. Well, guys, the content, I'll take full responsibility because I didn't want to just have Joe talk about brokers. I didn't want to have Joe just talk about investing. I wanted you to see the whole person and why that combination is so important. And I know what it feels like when you're starting out. It's like, man, you can't see that investment property yet. You know, maybe you can't even see the first transaction yet. But just know if you just keep swinging the bat, you got to wake up every day, hit the ground running, keep swinging the bat. You're going to get your deal. You're going to get a transaction. And eventually, if you work with enough investors, I promise you, you're programming yourself. You're giving yourself confidence along with the competence. So when you're ready financially, you'll be ready intellectually too. And then you can make a good decision, an informed decision, not just guess because you read a book or took a course or listened to Gary. You'll know because you've been in it yourself with enough other people. You know a good deal when you see it. It'll change you, change your life for the better. Yes, sir. Yep. Go ahead, Joe.
If you guys want to talk about how to get started in real estate investing, I'll come back and I'll bring one of my best pupils with me, Matt Bennett. He was doing marketing work for me. And one day he said, could you teach me how to buy rental properties? I said, sure. In 18 months, he's built a portfolio of about 20 units and he's cash flowing about
Nice.
$6,000 a month. Just in 18 months, didn't know anything about it, and is using mostly other people's money. And I'd love for Matt to come on and talk about his step-by-step process. There's no science, but I will say, I told Matt to do about 4 or 5 things and he did every one of those things and he's just hitting it out of the park. I have people call me all the time and they're like, Joe, I hear you're this or that. Can I buy you a cup of coffee? I want to pick your brain. And I always say yes. I just love helping people. I get together with these people. I tell them what to do. I'll give them a book. I'll say, read this book. As soon as you're done, come back and see me, and I'll tell you the next thing to do. I never hear from any of them again. It just cracks me up. Matt did every
I know.
single thing I told him to do, and he's crushing it right now. So I'll bring him on and let him tell you what he did. You can write it down step by step. It's very repeatable.
Yeah, let's do it. I would love to, Joe. I mean, I like always like our conversations. I like the way you do your business. And you can just tell. I mean, can actually, guys, type in a chat box or do a hand raise. I mean, you get the same feeling out of like Joe's authentic, genuine person. You know, you get the sense that you really are hearing from someone who actually has done it. You know, so and he's not just trying to sell you the $50,000 coaching program. You know. I mean that means a lot. So, well, thanks guys for the feedback.
I don't even have a
was-
$50,000 coaching program.
yeah,
Let me just
yeah,
type something here because somebody asked a question about they couldn't find the one ebook. You
mhm.
go to selfmadewealth.co and click on ebooks. Okay. It's not a book published on Amazon. I think the one you're asking about, it's just one of my ebooks. They were asking about, they said they couldn't find goal mastery. If you go to selfmadewealth.co, it's not .com, it's .co, and click on ebooks, it's right on. And then if you click on that ebook, you just put in your email address and it'll come to you.
Okay. All right, good. And then Joe, I'll give you a call sometime this week. Mondays are always the longest, hardest day. Tuesdays next, and so as the week goes on, it gets
Yeah.
easier. And I got my sister coming into town Friday to spend a weekend. But I'll make time to give you a call because I just want to thank you again, and we'll plot something out for you. And what's the agent's name you were referring to? The guy that started investing?
Matt Bennett.
Matt. Joe
Matt
and
Bennett.
Matt. I mean,
So Benita, you had a question. You raised your hand.
It's Bonetta.
Benetta.
I don't know. I hit the wrong button and I put myself out. So yes, Matt, Joe, I'd like to know how soon you're coming back. Yeah, I want to know how soon. I don't want it to be a couple of months because I want to hear the guy and I want to hear how he got started. And I want to know how to how to use other people's money to buy my first investment property. I own a home, but I
Yeah.
want to buy investor. And you made a very valid point. How are we going to work with investors if we're not investors? I
Yeah.
mean, I've invested in a home, but it's not the same as the other.
Sure,
So
sure. Yeah,
So-
Matt, well, I'll come back as soon as Gary wants us, but you're gonna love Matt. He's a marketing guy. He's a real he's just a brainstorming idea guy. He was a musician and never really had a job in the corporate world, but he had a cool set of skills. So he was like editing my videos, he was managing my website. But yeah, you'll love him and he loves sharing. So whenever Gary wants us back, I'll bring Matt and just bring a pad and a pencil because he's going to give you so much content. He's great. He loves to share and
sooner rather
it'll be
than
really
later,
good. What he
Gary,
did is fully repeatable.
Did you hear me, Gary?
yeah,
Gary?
I know. I'm sorry, better go ahead.
I said sooner rather than later, Gary, please.
Yeah, yeah. Well, just so you know, Joe, we are putting together a May's calendar. We have something already for the first week of May. But how about if I give you a buzz this week and talk to Matt? I mean, it's always, of course, Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern,
Okay.
and you just take your pick if you want it to be the second, third. Actually, we better look real quick because I think there's only 3 teaching Mondays. Yeah, because Memorial Day, the 27th is not a teaching Monday. So now your choices are the 13th or the 20th. So trying to
Of
narrow that
May?
down so much, but that's
Yeah, if you I'm going to that SLS conference
okay.
next week. And then I'm going fly fishing in Belize at the end of May because life is good.
Yeah.
But yeah, May 13th, that's a Monday. I think Matt and I can do that one.
Okay. All right, Joe and Matt. I'll make sure I do this all officially tomorrow. All the employees are all done working today, so but I'll make sure we get it all set up. And I really appreciate you doing this. I'll you know, there will be a time I'll be able to return the favor somehow, some way, and
You
hope you
don't
and
owe
your
me
guys out too.
anything.
I'll even
You
drive up
don't
to
owe me
Erie.
anything. The law of attraction,
Okay.
my friend, the universe is going to pay me back.
There you go.
I never do
I
anything for
like it.
anybody and expect that person to do anything back. Doesn't matter. As soon as you do
I
something nice for
agree.
somebody, it's already money in the bank. Trust me.
Yeah. That's why I designed a team this way. I'm like, you know what? I used to do the traditional training thing where people pay 300 or 3,000 and all that kind of stuff. And it worked. I mean, financially speaking, I did it for years. But the reality is this whole team, our concept is pay for performance. When they produce is when I get compensated, just a little piece of the transactions. And I wouldn't want it any other way, So
Hey,
yeah.
Michael McGran had his hand up and I accidentally put it down. Michael, do you have a
Oh,
question?
Yeah, it was kind of an extension of Bonetta's request. It would be interesting to have a better understanding how you outsource your management, be it with employees or companies to manage your investment properties. Um, I'm I'm familiar, through real estate and through my parents' holdings and my own investments on real estate investing, but I've never been good at outsourcing and picking the right people or caliber of people or teams to handle. And it sounds like you have a diversity of different types of investment properties, and it'd be interesting to see how you handle the outsourcing of your management.
Okay, yeah, that's a good one. Because I have different types of properties. I got some multi-tenant office, I've got some motels, I have some multifamily, and then I have my brokerage. So maybe bring that question up when Matt comes on board, because Matt can even talk about how he's sort of handling his business now that it's growing.
Okay, great. I look forward to May 13th.
Yeah, me too. Well, Gary, you're lucky. You got
okay.
a great group of people here. I mean, you're really lucky, my friend. I love it.
Yeah, I'm definitely blessed and been it's funny. I just got interviewed. The CEO of EXP interviewed me on his uh, podcast the other week, and I'm not like a very flamboyant kind of person. I do put a lot of stuff out there, education wise, and a lot of giving. But he sent me an email like a couple of days later with some of the nicest things I've ever heard from any leader. I mean, I consider myself a small fish in a big pond, but he was really blown away, yeah, by what we were doing and the whole investing thing, and um, it was just very very rewarding to see that and have that comment come back. And um, I know that a lot of successful people, they are out there all the time out front on the stage, and I started doing that several years ago, but I was away from my family so much. I hated. I couldn't wait to get off the road. And this allows me to be with my family. I'm here, short version is I'm at the family home now, with my brother and my sister's coming down this in the week, and we're trying to keep her mom here. And if I was still traveling around like I was, I wouldn't be. I'd be missing everything. This is so much easier. I mean, I get to focus on life's experiences and all the relationships, and these guys are part of that. These guys here in this group. I mean, some of these folks I've known for a long time. I mean, easily 10 years. I taught them in a class, and here we are working together on the same team. And everybody here, I mean, Bonetta, PF, I'm just looking around at some of these folks. I know Tom Wall for a long time. Dutch and I have known each other easily for 10 years. Andre probably longer than that. Andre probably 15 years or more, you know.
Awesome.
It's just been a real blessing. I couldn't, I mean, I honestly every day I wake up like pinch me. I'm just, So in any case, sorry to ramble. That's one of my downfalls. These guys will tell you if you give me a microphone, you would have to fight to get it back. So I'll keep going. But listen, guys, let's call this a wrap. Joe, thanks again for everything you're
Yeah.
doing. I love the
Thank you, guys.
collaboration. I look forward to yeah, having you on again. And everybody here, thanks for listening. I hope you took some notes. Tomorrow the recording will come out. And remember, invite other people to the class. Remember, this is open. There's nothing to buy or sell, nothing to recruiting. I know sometimes we have guest speakers. They do have something. We have to honor that, of course. But the reality is it's education based, and no better way to build a relationship than helping somebody else learn a skill.
Yeah, when I
So
when
keep
I
that in
bring
mind.
Matt
Don't be shy.
when I bring Matt on, you can invite whoever you want. We don't have any proprietary information. And like I said, everything you saw here, and I'll even add in some other things, like some people I watch on YouTube, and I'll put some good content into that email to Gary, and he can just send it all right to you guys.
Sounds good.
All right.
Okay, guys, well, listen.
Everybody, go get out there and
Take
crush
care of
it.
yourselves.
Do it.
Yeah, that's it. Keep
All right.
every
See you
day. Keep
guys.
swinging the bat, man. See you,
Thanks,
Joe.
Joe. Thanks, Gary.
Thanks, guys. Listen, take care. God bless you and your families. I will see you on Monday Night Live and on your one-on-ones.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. God bless.
You're welcome.
Thank you for watching this episode of Monday Night Live. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and go to realestatewithgarywilson.com to join our community and start building wealth today.